Good afternoon, my name is Tiana. Judge Mills Lane, District Court Judge, once said, "Every unfortunate event does not give rise to lawsuit." So today I will be sharing with you how Lawsuit Reduction Act of 2017 will improve attorney accountability. You may think that this act or bill may not directly affect you, but in reality, lawsuits happen every day, and every single day, the amount of lawsuits increase. So first today I will talk to you about what exactly a frivolous lawsuit is. Next I will explain to you a little bit about what the Lawsuit Reduction Act of 2017 is and some background on it, and what is included in that act. Third, I will talk to you about the advantages and disadvantages of the bill, so the pros and cons. And then lastly, I will speak to you about why I believe this bill should be passed. So, for my first point, what a frivolous lawsuit is. A frivolous lawsuit is any lawsuit that is filed with the intention of harassing, annoying, or disturbing the opposite party. So, it may be defined as any lawsuit in which the plaintiff knows that there is little to no chance of the lawsuit succeeding if pursued in court. Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 11 provides that a district court may sanction attorneys or parties who submit pleadings for an improper purpose or that contains frivolous arguments or arguments that have no evidentiary support. So basically that means if someone, for example, there was a lawsuit that happened not too long ago. It was at a McDonald's. A customer ordered a hot coffee and they spilt it on themselves and she got burned. So she decided that she was going to sue McDonald's because her coffee was too hot. And that is an example of a frivolous lawsuit because she specifically ordered hot coffee. So they gave her what she wanted, hot coffee, and she spilt it on herself. So therefore, if this was taken to court, which it was, and she lost, then it's a waste of time. So there are sanctions against frivolous lawsuits because they waste the court's time and resources. So if you don't know how long it takes or the steps in what a lawsuit, like in the lawsuit process, it starts off with pleadings. So the complaint and the answer. So initially it would be the girl that spilled the coffee on herself and bringing into court McDonald's. The discovery, expert witnesses, motions, and timing. Then the trial, the actual trial. So the trial and then what they say after that, and then sometimes there's a post verdict, and then the costs and the fees of all that, and then maybe there's an appeal because they don't like the answer that they get, and it's just a whole process. It just takes up too much time just for a frivolous act. So now that you have a brief understanding on what a frivolous lawsuit is and the long process that it comes with in acting in this lawsuit, I will now talk to you about the bill itself. So this bill will restore mandatory sanctions for filing frivolous lawsuits in violation of Rule 11. So if you don't know what Rule 11 is, it is a safe harbor provision. A provision that currently allows parties and their attorneys to avoid sanctions for frivolous claims. And it requires monetary sanctions, including attorney fees and compensatory costs against any party making a frivolous claim. And anyone caught violating this would be given a penalty of fees. So basically what they're saying is that the already in place Rule 11, the safe harbor provision that currently allows parties and their attorneys to avoid sanctions for making frivolous claims. If you violate that, then there is a penalty and there is a fee. So there's like a penalty system. That's basically what they're putting in place. That's what the Lawsuit Abuse Reduction Act really is. It's more of like a penalty towards the person making a frivolous claim. So now that I have explained to you what the Lawsuit Reduction Act is, I will now list some potential pros and cons of the bill itself. So the first one would be that it keeps frivolous lawsuits out of the court, which is initially the whole issue here. We just want to keep frivolous lawsuits out of the court so that it saves time and energy that should not be wasted on such small claims. So it also saves people money too, because taking issues to court is not for free, and it's very costly actually, especially for just a lawyer. And a con would be that there's really no precedent set as to what frivolous is and what it's not. So it's too vague about what what is considered frivolous. So if I were them, I would probably put a little bit more detail into what exactly they think is a frivolous claim, because everyone has different perceptions on what it should be or what it is, and that's where a lot of confusion comes in. But overall, I think that it's a good bill that should be put in place. It For a pro, it enacts in a penalty system. So, just like your parents gave you a penalty or got you, or whenever you came home late from, I don't know, your friend's house and you were supposed to be back by 10, you get in trouble for that. So same thing here. It's just with, the government saying that you shouldn't be able to enact in these claims. So, it also keeps attorneys in check, and it also keeps sue happy people in check as well. So that's good. And then while both the pros and cons prove good points, I'm obviously in favor of reducing lawsuits. So I'm in favor of the Lawsuit Reduction Act. So my main position is that I agree with the Lawsuit Reduction Act of 2017 for the following reasons. Businesses would be more protected, for the example that I gave earlier about the McDonald's and the hot coffee burn. That shouldn't have been a lawsuit in the first place. She ordered the hot coffee, that's what she got. It's her own fault, she spilt it on herself. It keeps attorneys in check, so they don't just accept these cases for money. It will keep complaints in check, and it will establish a penalty for those who don't comply, so the fees and the costs. This Reduction Act seeks to help reduce the steadily increased numbers of lawsuits within the United States, as well as help those who are being pulled into frivolous lawsuits. Upon concluding my presentation, you can clearly understand and begin to process these 4 points. That frivolous lawsuits are tedious due to the lawsuit process and how long it takes to actually enact in getting that final verdict. And the pros and cons of mandatory sanctions for filing frivolous lawsuits, and the Lawsuit Abuse Act itself. So, according to John R. Allison, the United States is experiencing a steady increase in lawsuits this bill can change those statistics. If we put our support behind this bill, we would be saving a whole lot of time and resources that could be put to better use with legitimate lawsuits rather than frivolous ones. So, thank you for listening.